So it's been a while since I created one of the large mixed media tags. So I thought I would have a go today at creating one. I've already cut it out of some grey grunge board, so I've already cut the basic shape out, and I've gathered together a lot of bits and pieces that are kind of similar in tone and it's kind of like a brownish, crafty kind of vibe going on. So I'm going to try and incorporate as many of these as possible with a few paints, that kind of stuff. But I also found that. So that's a die cut from one of the Tim Holtz Umbrella Man dies. So that's the negative. Obviously that's the actual die itself. I thought I would try and incorporate him into it somewhere too, because he's the right kind of shape. So I'm going to try and put together, layer some of these textures all together and find some way of incorporating them into the actual tag itself. So I'm going to create a bit of space and just get cracking. Let's get cracking. So first thing I'm going to do is add a layer of colour paint onto this background. So let me just grab a brush. There we go. That will do. And I've got some white paint. So instead of using gesso, let's just chuck some white paint down just to get rid of some of that greyness in the background. So I'm not going to go all over, I'm going to leave it kind of whitewashed. I could actually just spritz a tiny bit of water. There we go. Just, oops, thin it down a little. That's better. Create a more kind of whitewashed look in the background. That will do. That'll do, that'll do. Right, let's get that dried off. It shouldn't take too long. And then we can start putting together some of these backgrounds and layers. Create some nice clusters, do some tearing, some distressing. That's it, pretty much dry. Pretty much dry. Didn't take long at all. Okay, so what we're going to do to start off with then, I need to add something just into the background. So I'm not going to be exact with this. Let's just see whether or not I can pencil kicking about. Yep, so about there. So if I tear down almost. Okay. About there. Our first scruffed background, and then let's just add a little bit of shape up there. Create a little bit of a tag shape. That will do. Keep that bit. Put that away. let's bring my bin so I've got somewhere to just throw things down. Okay, so something a little bit darker now. So a piece of craft card. Oh, God, that's tough. That's a bit tough. Too big. Let's just take a little bit off the bottom there as well. Okay, so we've got that. Let's see what we've got here. Alright, let's bring this scruffing tool in. I'm just going to nibble up those edges rather than remove too much. I'm also working fairly quickly because I'm doing this pretty intuitively. I'm not thinking too much about it. I don't want to overanalyze, and I don't want to overdo it. Maybe not that just yet. What else have we got? Oh, that burlap. Some nice burlap there, but I don't want to put that down just yet. So there's some of that craft core. So let's tear some of that off. I like the colour. I do like the colour. At first I thought it was a bit more bluish than this, but obviously it's not. But that's okay. Green's just as good. So let me see if I can layer that underneath there. That looks good. Maybe that burlap strip there, then those two smaller pieces there. I'm liking all that texture. Let's lift that up a little bit. Liking all that texture. So I think it may be time to start gluing things down now. But I want to just distress that a little bit more. So I've got an emery board. Better. Okay. Let's grab some glue. Like that, but, and there's always a but, it's a little bit too clean for my liking. So where's that white paint gone? Oh, do you know, I've done it, I've put it down somewhere, there it is. Give me some white paint, just a little bit. Whitewash a little bit over the top just to tone it down a wee tad. Better. Okay. give that a quick blast. That's just to dry the paint off, so it's going to be dry enough for me to add. Let me take that corner off, just so that it kind of mirrors that shape a bit more. That should do us. So I'm not thinking too hard at all with this. Perhaps I should remove that corner as well. Okay, let's bring that cluster back in. See, this is what happens now. We've got plenty of wiggle room. So that means I can put, there we go. That's much better. Yeah, I'm liking that a bit better. And to be honest, I think maybe just a little bit of that, just a small bit, I might just tuck. Excuse the noise, that's somebody mowing the lawn out front. It's a warm day again today. So I've got a clip. So I'm going to put the clip up here. Just because. And then I've got the craft card. First lay down here. Then I've got the burlap piece. I need something a little bit stronger for that, so I think if my PVA is going to behave itself, I might be able to persuade some of it to come out to play. Oh. Ugh. See, doesn't always happen, but it will be covered. Just drag that this way a little bit. The beauty about PVA is it'll dry clear. That's fine. And there's enough grip on there. Okay, so I'm going to add these over the top. Well, so there's enough glue there to hold on to that. So I'll just add some of this at that side. Probably doesn't need it. It may go a little bit wrinkly, but never mind. Just utilise some of that PVA and just run a quick bead of that. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm going to grab that white paint and then just use that. Just drag it a little bit. A little bit of whitey wash. Just going to unify some bits together. Okay, quick blast. That should do me on that one. Okay, everything's holding. Just snip off that piece of fibre there because it's odd at the minute. Okay, so where's my silhouette man, my umbrella man? There. I like the way that he contrasts with everything in the background. I'm happy just to leave him as he is. But I do need to add, maybe just take him about there. I want to add something here. What have we got? Rub-ons and sticker wise. Big chat. Let's see what we've got big chat wise. Maybe a phrase from the small talk, maybe better. Let's see what we've got. Boom, 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 boom. Right, I'll tell you what, I'll have a read through these and then I'll be right back rather than you hanging around and waiting. Okay, I found the phrase that I want to use, but I'll come back to that in a moment. So I want to try and stick down my umbrella man now. So I'm going to grab my glue and just add some blobs in the larger areas. So hopefully that's going to grab and hold on. Sod's law. If it can go wrong, it probably will go wrong. Right. I think I need something to weigh that down for the time being. Why are you curling up, mister? It's probably because all the glue's over there. There we go. I am going to need something to hold this down, just so it holds it in place. Something a bit heavy. Okay. That's a bit heavy. And that's a bit heavy. So I'm going to leave those for a good hour. And then I'll be back. Okay, so it's been about an hour. So the glue is pretty much set. That PVA is starting to disappear into the background. Everything's nice and flat. So what I've done is using that punch, the Arrows punch. It's a Stampin' Up punch, by the way. I've had this in my stash for ages. It's not one that I normally use. Now I've just punched out some more of those. I've punched out a couple of arrows that are from that craft core, and I thought it might just be quite nice just to add a couple of those in. Maybe just go in different directions for no other reason than we can. Just kind of brings everything together, brings the background into the foreground. Okay, now those small talk stickers that I was looking at earlier, I found the perfect one really, and it says, hopefully the camera will be able to pick that up, it's always the small pieces that make the big picture. So pretty much that's exactly what we've just done. We've created a larger picture by using smaller pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these words and bringing them down there. Trying to hopefully keep everything as straight as I can. There we go. It's always the small pieces that make the big picture. I don't know whether I've got that. I managed to get it 100% straight. Let's just see whether I can lift it up. Do you know what? There we go. If in doubt, cheat a little. Okay. So again, just want to grab a little bit of white paint, but not a lot. Literally, it's just a tiny, tiny kind of dry brush, a real small amount, and I'll just grab a little bit of paper just to work it out. Now when that dries, you'll probably not really see it. Not much anyway, but I like. So I'm going to leave that for about 5 or 10 minutes for it to dry, and then I'll be right back and we'll get that hole punched into the top. So it's been a good few hours now since I left this to dry, and the card's actually twisted slightly with all that PVA glue. It's all gone, so it's vanished completely. So what I want to do is I want to just back it. So I want to put something on the back. So I've got a sheet of 8x8 papers that was sent to me in Happy Mail. I've already traced around to get the basic shape, so I'm just going to cut it out roughly because I can trim it off later once I've actually got it glued onto the back. So that's probably a little bit too wide at that side. Like I said, it is just the basic shape. Fine tuning can be done at a later date. There we go. Put that to one side in my scrap pile. Then I'm just going to grab the glue, and hopefully the glue will help to pull it back into shape again, but I'm not particularly too bothered about it being a little bit out, because these things are not meant to be perfect. A little bit of kink is okay now and again. Just drop that on, and that gives me a little bit of wiggle room to be able to manoeuvre it in shape, in place, before the glue grabs. So there's the minimum amount of trimming to be done later. There we go. Just give it a smooth. And then we'll leave that to sit and dry for a few minutes, and then I'll trim out. So while that's drying, I want to add a hole reinforcer onto the tag like I did with this one. So I've grabbed some of that Coordinations cardstock, and I'm just going to punch a hole just into the cardstock, and then I've got another piece or another bigger hole punch. Now I'm going to create a larger hole reinforcer for this one. There we go. So that is going to go onto the front of my tag about there, which fits in nicely. So what I also need to do then is just punch out the hole where I want it to go, making sure obviously it's in the middle, or as near to the middle as I can get it. Because I've used the same centre hole for both, it's going to fit. So I just want to sand it a little bit, just to give it a little bit of that distressed look like the rest of it's got. That'll do. Grab some glue, a little bit of bead all the way around, and then I can just drop that over the hole like so. Now if you have difficulty lining those up, just get a pencil and just push it through the hole until it won't go any further, and just twist. That will line up your reinforcer with the hole underneath, and that can be drying along with the paper on the back. Okay, so it's been about quarter of an hour, 20 minutes since I put that glue on, so it's pretty much dry now. So just to finish off, I want to go around the edges, just adding a little bit of grunge, just to kind of tie it all together, create a nice kind of edged frame to it. And I'll do the same thing on the back. I think this foam's about ready for replacing. Just adds that nice kind of finishing touch to the back, sorry, to the front. And if we do the same thing to the back, and I may even just grab a little bit more of that Coordinations cardstock and add another hole reinforcer just to the back here, just so that it looks a little bit more finished. I'm hoping that twist in the card, can you see, will pull out once this is time to set properly. Let's get rid of that. Another piece of that Coordinations cardstock. This is dropping things on the floor. There we go. Just punch a hole in there, grab the hole punch, kind of even it up. Oh, there we go. Grab my emery board. Could do this while it was actually on, but that'll do. And then grab my glue, a little bead all the way around, and then just drop that over the hole. Again, I'll just use my pencil just to line it up. Oop. And he moved it. And there we go. So hopefully give that 5 minutes and it'll be complete and dry. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, without whose generosity and support these videos would not be possible. Thank you.